welcome back to the Curious Shelf. You are joining me on what is just basically a miserable day in Brussels, but the weather is apparently going to pick up next week and we will have sunshine. So welcome to new subscribers and welcome back existing subscribers. You are joining the Curator Shelf in Brussels. So yes, I'm jumping on the bandwagon with this tag, Top 10 Curiosity Decks, originally done by Candy over at Candy Soul and Soil. And when I first saw this tag, I just thought, oh dear, because I just realized that I'm not going to have much to show. But then I've been seeing people's kind of like VRs and I've kind of like realized that, you know, I can give it a try. So this is what I'm doing. I'm giving it a try. Please excuse the attire. I'm having basically a pajama weekend where I'm just taking it easy, taking it slow. And so basically you're just seeing me in my jammies today. But anyway, without further ado, let me start off with the first deck. And now I have to say there are decks that could have been in this, before I forget, there could have been decks in this video that are kind of like out of the curiosity range, but I feel like I've shown those decks so much on this channel that I don't want to do that anymore. So that's why I had to really dig around and think, what can fit this tag, which I haven't shown like 20 times already. So the first deck I'm going to show you is actually a classic, and it's a classic RWS clone. It's very well known. It's a very simple reader, and you're going to think, well, why is she putting it into the Curiosity Decks list? And that's because I think it has a lot to offer when you actually look at it, and that is the Greer Tarot. Now, this is a mass market deck. It's US Games. It's from the 70s, I believe. There's also there's other 70s decks like the Aquarian Tarot, the New Paladinian Tarot, something like that. So there are other decks, and I think they equally fit this category. And I want to put the 70s decks kind of like into this because I do find them kind of like a little bit strange. Like at first, it just looks like a normal Rider-Waite-Smith, right? But the more I looked at these cards, the more they kind of like, it's traditional imagery, but it's like full on in your face with these gaudy colors, these big thick lines. The art in this deck is just, it's an art that I don't see very much anymore. And so when I use this deck, it is curious for me because I kind of like start thinking, what are these people thinking? Basically, that's what goes through my head. Like, what are these people thinking in this deck? Because like in this one, it's so up close and personal, that horse, and I feel like he's coming straight at me. So you know, this deck for me is just kind of like a wonder deck, and when I look at it, it makes me curious because I kind of like do sometimes when I pull out these cards think, well, what were their moods and their emotions? It's very much a people's deck. I think it's one of the original or OG people's decks that there is out there. Very affordable, mass market, and I think it's a deck that has had a bit of a revival in the last few years for sure with TarotTube, but I love it because it is just a deck that's in my face. The colors are just so striking. I can never get a Greer card out of, like, if I have like a spread and I have several different decks, I can always like very quickly just spot the Greer card in the whole deck because it's just so gaudy. I don't know how else to put it. And it kind of like begs for attention, and I like decks that do that. So I'm going to call it the one that says, you know, that begs for attention basically. So there we go. Okay, so then the next deck that I have is, I'm going to first do all of my mass market, and then we'll come back to a few indie decks as well that I have. The next deck that I have is one that I picked up only last year, at the end of last year, like in December. I haven't really worked with it, but it has really struck me, and it is, of course, the Tarot of Abyss. Now, this is also a US Games deck, and, you know, it's very RWS straightforward, so you might think, well, why is she putting it in here again? Well, and so the author is, before I forget, of course, I know she's a very well-known author, Anne Turian, but I know she's done the Oracle of Echoes, which I don't have. This is the only deck of hers that I have. But at first I didn't want to buy it because I think everybody was buying it. Then it had that huge issue of not being available in Europe. And so it finally became available in Europe at the end of last year, at the beginning of this year. And I picked it up finally. And these are the backs. Very striking deck. But I have been really mesmerized by this pencil artwork. And it's making me curious because I think there's a lot in there. It's kind of like striking up the same questioning that I have when I work with like the Paulina decks, because there's so much in each image. Now, they're less busy than the Paulina Cassidy decks, but there's still very interesting, beautiful line work. There's swirls and patterns and small little things, like here we can see with these drawings here in her hair. There's a lot going on, you know. I feel like there's a mysterious world actually in her own hair, you know. In the eyes there we can see it, you know, justice, there are the scales. This is a deck which is just, you know, it is Anaturian. She's very well known for doing very striking images, but this is a deck that's going to make me work. And so that's what I'm going to say. This is my curious deck because it's going to say you're going to have to work at this one. That's what it says to me. You know, this is not an easy ride, and that's good. You know, I need decks like that. You know, I need decks that push me out of my comfort zone. So I've got to work it with this one. Okay, and so that is Tarot of the Abyss. And as usual, before I forget, of course, I am time stamping this whole video, so it's easy. You can just go straight to the deck that you'd like to see. Okay, so after this one, I am going to pick another mass market deck that's called, you know, the Dreaming Way Tarot. Now, I've already done a deep dive on this deck last year. It's by Rome Choi, artwork by, illustrated by Quan Shina. Now, this is again another US Games deck. It retails around the €20 mark. Very affordable, beautiful colored images. Absolutely, I think they're watercolor. Beautiful images. The reason why this deck falls into my curiosity list is because I keep going on about it. I love their costumes. Their costumes are just so bizarre. They make me go, huh? And I love a deck that makes me it's bizarre. I don't know how to put it. This deck is just bizarre. I love it. I feel like there's a title card. I feel like I'm in a dream when I do this, when I look at this deck, and it's called the Dreaming Way Tarot. But I feel like I'm in a dream. I feel like these people are like just strange oddities in their own little world with these really weird shoes, and just the costumes in this deck are just amazing, basically. And the dressing, the robes, and you know, this caped crusader over there. You know, the hermit, that pointy hat. I mean, it just, yeah, I think that the artist, the creator and the artist are just very, very clever in their depictions. And I love the pages in this deck. This is a deck where I do also, again, go into, I wonder what they were thinking, you know, what they're thinking, these people. But I really recommend this deck, especially if you want to work with court cards more. I definitely recommend this deck. And it's very airy, it's very bright, it's very light, gorgeous coloring, and it falls into my curiosity decks again because of the way the people are just outfitted, basically. Look at those gloves. Okay, so that is the Dreaming Way Tarot. So going on from there, the one after that one is, now this is a very well-known tarot deck. I actually think that like the similar deck to that, I would also put into this top 10 curiosity decks, but you see that from me a lot, so I'm going to choose the other one. And it is my Tarot of Mystical Moments. I want to put this in here because this is a very bog standard Rider-Waite-Smith deck, but it is clever. And it's a deck which I think that, I mean, it's a shame it didn't come with a big guidebook. I think it's a deck that deserves a big guidebook. I think that this deck is going to be one that I need to revisit every year because there is just so much. There's kind of like the initial image, which is beautiful. So I can fall in love with it. But then there is the whole, you know, like in here, the alligator. I mean, there's just a whole depth to it, which the first time using it, you know, I got a lot from it, but I still want to, I mean, look at all that stuff on him. You know, I mean, look at him. He's defending, he's breaking out, but he's got love tattooed on him. I just think that this is a deck which deserves me spending a lot of time with it because there's just so much in the collage work and the art. it's just gorgeous and beautiful in many ways. There's a lot of balance in this deck. It took me a while to realize it, but a lot of the images involve kind of like somebody on the precipice of something, on the edge of something. And I like that about this deck. You think that they're going to fall through or fall over, or it's going to collapse, or they're going to, you know, they're going to slip and go either side. But, oh, sorry about that. But they balance basically. This deck has a lot of that. Not every image, but a lot of the images are a juxtaposition. Look at that. That's gorgeous. That Queen of Pentacles. I want to be her. Yeah, really, really strong images, powerful images. So yeah, and this is the deck where we have a female emperor, a female emperor as well. I think this is this is the deck. 9 of Cups, gorgeous. But yeah, so I really like the use of flowers in this deck actually. Yeah. So and look at that, all those wounds. And then if you look at the thickery there, the behind her, like the haziness, you know, there's a lot going on. There's a title card again, same mistake. There's a lot going on in each image. Absolutely love this. So, you know, if you're thinking about this or the Dream Keeper's Tarot, I always recommend both. I actually think that they're both different. I think they both offer something. I've enjoyed working with both, and neither one is leaving my collection anytime soon. There's another dreamy deck. I can't remember the name of it now. It's not the same kind of collage work, but I'm thinking of getting that one too. There's something about the dreamy state that I like working with. So there you go. Okay, so this is a tarot deck which I have found to be, I found it to be intriguing. It's a low scarabeo deck. It's Tarot of the Secret Forest, and I thought it'd just be another low scarabeo deck, but as time has gone on, I've realized that this deck is, I feel like I'm in the Fae world, but I'm in another level of Fae when I work with this deck. It's like Fae energy, but it's Fae energy, and you know, I really need to be focused and intense when I work with it. Now, this is the deck where you have the black and white image of the card in reverse on the back. I do love it. I think there's also the Tarot of the Fairy Lights, and I want to get that one as well. But I do like this deck because I think that there's a lot going on in each image. I find her really like the Secret Forest, but the darker side of the Secret Forest. So the Enchanted Forest, but from a different perspective. And I love this deck. I absolutely do. I've kept the borders, and I'm glad I did. I think it needs these borders. I like them. I don't think it quite always, the artwork matches up with the, it's wrong around, sorry. The artwork doesn't always match up with the title card, but that, with the key, but that's okay. I mean, it's a deck, again, that a bit similar to the Hush Tarot. I need to work on intuition, and I would have liked to have put the Hush in this video, but because I show her so much, she's one of my favorite decks, I've decided not to. But this is of the same vein. This is a very dark forest energy where I need to understand the people. I need to work with them. I need to travel with them. I need to be engaging with them, and just really enjoying the experience as I go through it. I mean, look at that gorgeous Six of Cups. You know, it's almost like he's crossed the rainbow bridge. It's very haunting, and then there's these beautiful shades of bright light. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. There's a face in there. Very clever. Riding this huge beetle, or is he tiny? Yeah, this is Six of Swords. I just find this deck very haunting in its own way. I'm so glad I have it, and I would love to get the Tarot of the Fairy Lights as well, I think, at some point. So this is, again, a deck that I find very, very curious and enchanting, but magical, but it has a very dark side. I mean, look at that Seven of Cups, and she looks like she's been enchanted and hypnotized into this state. That's how it feels to me. Gorgeous. Okay, so the one after that, it's supposed to be 10, right? I'm probably going to get the number completely wrong here. The number after that I want to talk about is a deck that it's not so much as visual, but it's something that happens when I work with it. So this is a deck that looks like plain Jane. I don't know how else to put it, but then it's almost like she's very, very cutthroat, and that's the Muse Tarot. I know you'd find that very strange, like, why does she have this in this list? I bought this deck and I thought, oh, it's going to be pretty, and well, I didn't think it was going to be pretty, so I didn't know what I was thinking when I bought this. I bought this really cheap when I came back to tarot. I think it was just really new at the time, so I bought it for like 15 euros, and I opened it and I thought that I was in like the Cosmopolitan magazine, so I was kind of like a bit disappointed with myself for buying it, and I was like, so I shoved it to the back. But this deck is curious because at first the images look like, yeah, they're just magazine images, like what was I thinking? Look at the back, isn't that gorgeous? I was thinking it's a bit too young for me, you know. This is like the stuff that like today's, you know, young ladies might like, kind of thing, or I don't know, maybe people with feminine energy, sorry, I should say, but I just thought, not for me. However, she makes me curious because when I do readings with her, she's very, very accurate, and it's specifically certain types of readings. She's not for all readings and she's not for all audiences, but with very specific readings, she can be very, very sharp. And I was kind of like taken aback. I also have started to really appreciate the artwork. So, you know, this is the only deck, by the way, that has these side cards, which I'm okay with. Normally I don't like them, but it's like, okay. But I appreciate Chris Ann's work in this. It's been a slow burner. So this is the deck which I'm going to call as the slow burner. Yeah. But she's piqued my curiosity. I really, really like using her in kind of like big layouts. I don't know what it is, but she does so well when there's like several of her laid out. She's not really a one trick pony, a one card pony. She's more kind of like 7 cards thrown out there and then mixed up with something, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm seeing gateways, I'm seeing portals, I'm seeing signs, I'm seeing direction, I'm seeing faces, I'm seeing geometric designs. I'm just seeing a lot of stuff once I loosen up in how I work with her. And she definitely likes to be in groupings. That's the best way I can put it. She likes to hang out with the crowd. She's that kind of a deck. She works very, very well with other decks too, and she works very, very well on her own. But like I said, it's not the kind of tarot deck where I will pull 2 cards. It's more a tarot deck where I will have 10 cards out, and I see a lot then. Okay, so that is the Muse Tarot. So the one I'm going to go on from there, you can tell this is not my forte, this tag, but I'm trying. A deck that's made me really curious in terms of, I'm going to stick with Tarot and then I'll wrap it up with Oracle. This is now an indie deck, and that's the Forhaxa Tarot by MJ Cullinan. Now, I did splurge and get this from her. I now know that after that, she opened an Etsy shop. So if you're in the EU, I would recommend buying from her Etsy rather than directly from her website. This deck is just, I love it. I mean, it's taken over my interest. The images are just so full of energy and just, oh, I love this fae. I really, really adore her. She's a fae that really represents me, you know. I feel like, oh, wow, there's a deck that really I can sit in. Actually, I can sit in the Hush Tarot too. And one of the Paulina decks. Yeah, and the she. Okay, but you get what I mean. Like, even facially, like bodies and faces and clothing, like this deck has got that kind of like kick-ass, sorry to put it this way, but like a bitch energy, which I don't mind. I'm like, yeah, I love it. I love the fact that it's like the female form, so strong, owning her territory, owning her land. Oh God, look at that Queen of Fire. I feel like I'm on fire, you know, when I'm working this deck. I feel like the fireflies are alive now when I'm with her. I feel like I'm in a forest which just has so much going on, and it's like, you know, it's Wonderland for me. It's a trip into a whole another universe where energies like mine are fully embodied and represented and portrayed, and you know, we're allowed to be ourselves. I mean, look at that Four of Earth. You know, I'm allowed to be this fae who's just, you know, trying to make her way in this world and just cope with life. You know, look at that beautiful Five of Cups, Five Water. Yeah, I'm just, I mean, she's like basically a mermaid fae. She's like a mer fae. This deck is just gorgeous. I mean, Elder Fire. Ten of Air. Sad. Look at that. Her wings have been stapled to the trunk. I mean, just, oh yeah, it just makes me a little, just, it captures my heart so much, this deck. The only thing about this deck which I do get annoyed with is that it's super slippery, so I'm always scared when I use it that I'm gonna have a card flying out and you know, and just getting trampled on or something. But look, I mean, sorry, I just have to show you. Look at this Elder of Earth. Oh, she's gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, look at this Elder of Earth. Okay, so I'm going to stop gushing, but this is becoming like my new soul deck, but don't tell the Tarot of the She, because otherwise there's going to be a war. I mean, I love them both, basically. So, but yeah, I think MJ Cullinan knocked it out of the park with this one, and I'm hoping actually it becomes available mass market, because A, I want a second copy, and B, other people can enjoy it, more people can enjoy it too, basically. Okay, so I think this is going to be my last tarot deck, and then we're going to move on to oracles. This is an indie deck, which is the Trionfi Della Luna Paradoxical Pips edition and the Marseille edition, and I wanted to include it because I have already, as you can see from my other video, I have the illustrated now as well from Patrick Valenza. I have it as one of my irreplaceable decks, which it is, but I wanted to include this one because this one also intrigues me. It's curious, it's fun. I like the paradoxical state because, yeah, I mean, like, it's just weird. I mean, like, it's, so look at it. I mean, just, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this purple. Oh my God, look, it matches my t-shirt. I love this purple. I think she's so pretty. I actually want to get the illustrated Trionfi Della Luna in aqua, so I think that will be a purchase soon. I know it's going to cost me a bomb, but it happens. But yeah, I want her in aqua. So look at this, just gorgeous. The pips are really cool in this deck, and she looks really great in a layout again. This is another deck that does so well in her own spread. She owns it. Patrick Valenza is just an amazing artist. I love him. And yeah, and these are the backs. So yeah, so I definitely recommend this as a curious deck because, again, you're just going to sit there. Like, these are the decks where, you know, I sit there and I pull out a card and this is the one where, you know, she's strange and she's bizarre. And yet she's a friend. So there you go. Another one that steals my heart. Okay, going on from there, I'm just now going to show you some of my oracles that I pulled out for this tag. Now, a deck that I bought earlier this year is Oracle of the Oracle Unicorns by Paolo Barbieri. Let's get the name right. I had the dragon deck, and then I saw the unicorn deck on Owl Moon's reveal, and I realized that the unicorn one was really clever, and I was like, ooh, I want to try that. So I did buy it in the end, and I have really enjoyed this deck. It is very, very strange. You know, it's got these titles where it says things like Not a Race, Rush, you know, or Not a Tiger, Majesty. So it's kind of like a deck where it really makes you have to look at what it means in each card. I'm sorry, it's getting a bit grainy now. I think it's because we've got sunset going. Well, it's not sunset, it's cloudy, that's why. But it's grainy, sorry, it's grainy. it's intriguing. It is intriguing. I like it. I like that it's just it's not an oracle deck that I see very often in places. So I am pleasantly surprised by this deck. And again, you know, she makes me have to really think when I work with her. Okay, and then the final one that I'm going to show you, I think this is it actually, is a deck that I bought recently, and you saw me go really goo-gaw happy over it because I loved it. And it's actually becoming one of my favorite Lucy Cavendish's decks. Is Alice, the Wonderland Oracle. I love this deck, and it is so intriguing. I think that I mean, Jasmine Beckett Griffith has really, this time, I didn't realize it. I'd seen the deck on so many walkthroughs, but I didn't realize how clever it was until, these are the backs, until I did that reveal about a month ago. And then after that, I've been loving her. So, you know, here we have nature communication, and it says flower energies, fairy energies, elemental messengers. You just get so much in each card as I look at it. You know, look at this. I mean, she's got a little dragon there. She's playing with him. It says a moment's regret, and then it says nostalgia, idealism in the past, fearing you made a mistake. Oh, it's just, and you can see there all these little creatures. You can just see so much. That's what I love sometimes, decks which have so much going on that you can really sit with each and every, you know, the way that her expressions are. The Cheshire cat looks nuts. But yeah, she's intriguing for me. She's curious for me. So there you go. You've got some mushrooms there. It says law is not justice. Rules are not fair. This is a card I need to meditate with, actually, because that's how I'm feeling right now. A lot of injustice right now. I mean, look at that. You've got here coins, and she's holding the scales. You've got the blueness. I mean, and then you've got the portrait at the back here. There's a lot going on. And so I am very pleasantly surprised with this deck. You know, it's really, you know, when I bought it, I thought, am I just going to get something very gimmicky? But I'm very pleasantly surprised. I'm going to stop there, which is great. We're only 27 minutes. It's going to be one of my shorter videos. I hope you enjoyed that. You know, this is not really my comfort zone, but I wanted to join in because, you know, I like being part of the tarot community and just giving things a try, right? So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all again next week. I hope you're enjoying the summer days wherever you are. Or actually winter if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. Take care now. Bye.